My mum has
Hello.
got it going on.
That's sing Stacey's mum first about your own.
My mum has got it going on. I don't know. Let me get a lyric.
What are the lyrics?
Okay, working out. Stacey, can't you see? You're just not the girl for me. I know I might be wrong, 'cause I'm in love with my mum.
Stacey.
Stacey, can't you see? It's just not the girl for me. 'Cause I'm in love with my mum.
That's either horrendous or an incredibly sweet way.
Yeah,
You
just
know.
to be like, she's the only woman for me. When?
Yeah,
But then it depends if that's a sexual
those
relationship.
Drake lyrics of like, I only love my bed and my mum, I'm sorry. But that's cute, but not if you knew the reality, the dark realities of that song.
Of that, he has to have sex with her on
He's
a
also
regular basis.
a real narcissistic sociopath who can't drop any feelings of love for any other being apart from the one who bore him.
What does that say about a man?
Bad.
How
are you? You're doing early shifts.
Early shifts.
How long were you doing 9 till?
A good stint. It was 10
like months.
10 till 4, 5,
No.
7. Yeah, well, it's already...
10 till
Look, there's
7.
a lot of numbers that fly around with my schedule.
Yeah.
I was doing 10 till 7 for several months. And now I'm back on the old 7 a.m.ers.
But it was like for months, and that's like it's the thing is that you have different whole periods of months where you'll be stuck in those schedules, and you're a different person. You know? I think you're the most stable and level-headed when you're doing that.
Yeah,
but
definitely. Now we're back on the 7s.
When you sent me a message saying, "Can we speed things up?" Because I got up at 6:45, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
this is you've riled up the bull.
Well,
and you
the
don't
bull-
know which kind of Andrews you're gonna get.
Well, you're getting the one who stumbles over his words and can't really form a sentence.
You're not looking great at the moment. It looks like something's gone wrong.
Something has changed.
I feel that you could be churlish during this podcast.
I'm a lot more suspicious of everything. I see a lot of shifty...
You have a much shorter fuse already.
Well, okay, we have mice in the house, as everyone knows by now. And there are instances now, as I think everyone knows as well. Well, I live on the downstairs floor, the only room in the downstairs bit. And I now hear mice in my room every now and again. I've kind of shouted at them enough that I think they're now afraid to come in.
Sure.
But the first thing I did when I woke up at 6:45 was lie in my bed and could hear, it sounded like this. Like a wide. So it wasn't a mouse. But so I heard it and I stopped and I didn't move a muscle. I was like, well, it must be the mice.
It was a man rubbing a big A4 pad against his bare knee.
And then I opened my eyes and listened to it. Horatio's there in his boxers with that pad going, wake up, Andrew. It's time for work. And then he scurried off. So I thought the mice were my only problem. But there's a lot more problems. No, and then there's just weird noises that happen.
So that wasn't the mouse?
No, it can't have been. Because I got up and looked under the bed and shit and there was nothing there.
Yeah, that's not great. So does that happen a ridiculous amount of times? You have mice in your room?
No. It happened like a couple of nights in a row, and I just kind of got up and just started smashing the floor with my feet, stomping about, going, "Not here! Not today! Not ever!"
Yeah.
And then that seems to have stopped them.
They need boundaries.
No, yeah, exactly. They do. And
because
when they scurry off, it really sounds like, "I'm sorry, sorry, didn't realise." So I think they now, because they're not the people mistake mice and rats for being unintelligent creatures, but they're very intelligent creatures. There's instances with New York giant giant rice. It's crazy. You should go and eat that. It's unbelievable. Giant rats who are now becoming like mega rats or something. And they can like get bits of cheese out of a trap and they like know how to navigate different traps.
But so not only are they physically bigger, their brains bigger. Therefore their emotional capacity.
Yeah. They're essentially intelligent creatures.
Okay.
So I believe they now are afraid of my room when I go to bed.
Okay, good.
But then the scary thought is I stop having that presence when I go to sleep. So who knows what's happening in there.
You do lose a lot of authority.
Yes, but I also sleep talk very loudly and frequently. So maybe I'm scaring them off then. Away!
Yeah. So is this the revelation?
No, the revelation was this. How nuts?
Okay.
Why didn't one go mental? Like, how far ahead of its time was predictive text?
So let me just deal with disappointment of that revelation.
How far ahead of its time was predictive text? Now, we were on some like fucking brick phone shit.
Sure.
So we're tapping out numbers on a keypad.
Yeah.
And we're sending messages across the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was the main part of the technology. But like now, I think if predictive text was introduced now to the next iPhone, people would go mental for it. They lose their minds.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "This is the craziest technological step we've ever had." But we had it on like our Nokias.
Okay, no, I see what you mean, because there is. I have noticed this. Sadly, I can't think of anything on top of my head, but I've noticed things where I'm like, this is a small bit of genius which is ahead of the technology it's currently on.
Which
you
is
see them constantly.
predictive text.
Well, predictive text maybe for sure.
No, 100% for definite.
But the reason why I don't think it is because I think it was such a clear. They had to because of how hard it is to text on the old phones. So that was a clear option.
Sure, yeah.
It's not like a luxury type thing.
Exactly. The demand was there, and that's what creates that genius, the innovation. Sure, sure, I get that. But still, the fact that they managed to come up with it, it's pretty fucking cool, I'd say. And it's, well, I guess autocorrect. I get autocorrect is kind of upon the same vein, because that's not really predictive text. Because no, predictive text worked by, it would do what you would, so you put in a message, and if you frequently said, "Hi, my name's Horatio, and I have blonde hair," you would often come up with, so you'd say blonde a lot, you'd say hair a lot. So when you do BL, it would presume you were doing. But now with autocorrect, it's like it just scans the whole fucking dictionary.
It's true.
And then you do like ST, and it's like, I think I'm going to say
So
start there, aren't you?
It's not like the
And
analog.
then you just press an arrow.
It's not like the analog predictive text of the past, which
No.
is far more authentic. Like shooting on film. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
Much more of a kind of.
It's not kind of hyper predictive text, super predictive text.
Yeah, I don't particularly like predictive text. I need it. But
You don't like people telling you what to do.
It's true. I'd really have an issue with authority. But yeah, there's some. It is meant. The fact they changed ducking to fucking so regularly.
Fucking to ducking.
They changed ducking.
They changed fucking to ducking.
Fucking to ducking. Baffles me. Because
Yeah, is it because they...
have you ever used ducking?
No, but
without-
it's intentional because kids are using it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No way. Are they trying to?
Yeah, because how else could it be explained? Because every time you write out fucking, it changes it to ducking. Every single time.
Not every
That
time.
doesn't happen with any other word.
Not every. I think that seems a bit mental that they think that they're going to stop kids by autocorrecting when they can delete the D and create the F.
Welcome to our world.
When you
You've
write
finally
cunt,
woken up.
They don't write like goosey.
Exactly. Yeah, because well, you could change. That's a good question. Does it change it to anything? But I think cunt is not used enough for them to put the technology into place there. Cunt goes to count. Count.
Does it?
Oh my god!
What? What is it? What did you do? What did you do? The anticipation is killing me.
Oh my god.
What did you do?
Oh my god.
What did you do?
Oh my god, this is actually really bad.
What did you do?
Part of my job is sending passwords to documents to the police officers.
No, fucking.
I'm not kidding you. Oh my god.
Did you send that to a police officer?
Yeah.
What did you send?
Just cunt. Oh my god. Oh my god. What do I do? How do I repair that? I don't know. You can't unsend a text message. What do I do? I think I have to say.
I think you're gonna have to do an asterisk count.
No, because why would I just say count?
That's fucking.
I think I'm gonna have to do I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, that wasn't meant for you. I don't even remember which one I sent it to.
Just message the police, cunt.
I just messaged the police officer saying cunt.
Did it autocorrect?
No, it auto-corrected to count, and then I changed it to cunt to try and see if it would do it again. Oh my god. Am I going to be sacked? That is a bad one. That is a really bad one.
Because if you get sacked, then we have it live on camera. I don't know if this makes it more or less sackable if you've got footage of you.
Probably more.
Because this is why you... Yeah.
Well, I could show it was an accident.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I was just doing that.
Can I see the message?
No, I deleted it out of panic. I did it and then just deleted it thinking that might stop the message going. Did it stop? I don't think it did stop the message going. I've got full bars. What do I say? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to...
I'm incredibly sorry. That was a complete accident. It was meant for someone else.
But why would I be on their messages? This is such a hard one to explain. I messaged them at 11:23 a.m. with a password like that, and the next thing was cunt. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have to message because it could be like could be like a hate crime.
Hate crime against police.
Oh, but I deleted it, so I don't even know which one it was to now. Oh my god, this is a fucking disaster.
Because you don't save any of the names on your phone.
No, because these are police officers, so why would I?
That's true.
Oh my god, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry.
He just called a police officer a cunt. Hashtag BLM.
I can't think of how to get out of this. Really easily. How do I get out of this? Because there's a chance they know who I am. They know I don't regularly.
We just get an apology immediately.
Yeah.
And say get that just straight out.
I'm really sorry. But then how do you explain? I'm really sorry.
Get a sorry in there.
I'm really sorry. Clear. That was a complete accident. Should I say? Because I said I was sending it to the wrong person, but that then implies that I was going to just say cunt to someone.
Which is like, it's not illegal.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. That was a complete accident. I was testing out autocorrect.
Yes.
Because that's the truth.
Yeah, but that sounds like bullshit to me. But yeah, that's the only way you can
accident. It's insane. It's insane, but I was testing out autocorrect on a podcast.
No. Don't.
I've sent it.
Did you say podcast?
No, not on podcast. I don't know if that's the right one though, because it could have been a different one. It could have been a different one.
So you've just apologised to a different police officer?
I don't know.
Well, apologise to all the police officers.
There's like 50. It's going to be one of them. I think it would have been that one.
It would have been.
Why did I delete it? Because I thought it might stop it, or it might have stopped it. This is a disaster.
All right.
We'll keep you updated on that, because I might get a buzz that says, "Wait, about what?"
I can't believe that.
Fuck.
We were meant to just have like a general chit chat before getting into the main topic, but that's.
But I've just called a police officer a cunt. It looks like, because it's what we do is, so we provide the password. So is this like I've sent the password and then gone cunt? Here's your password, cunt. Fuck. That could be bad. See how
you just saw some life destruction. That was incredible, and it was so, it wasn't long enough after you get punched in the face. And I was just saying this morning that there's just a different energy.
It really is.
I was just like, there's something
odd.
I set out the episode saying I knew that something was going to happen. It was either you're going to be an absolute horror show nightmare towards me, or you're going to call a police officer a cunt. And I'm glad for the podcast that it's the second. But
oh my god, there are some chill police officers. There's some not that I've been aware of.
Famously.
Well, that was a disaster. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Andrew called a police officer a cunt, and that
live on air,
accidentally, and that might change his life forever. But in the meantime, we still have a show to get through.
We've got business to do.
We've still got business to do, so he has to try and not think about his potential career change and focus instead on the Friends reunion.
Yeah, Friends reunion. Important stuff. Things to talk about in the Friends reunion. It happened. It existed.
Well, we watched the Friends reunion separately. We were going to try and watch it together. But I think it's probably better we watch it separately, because now we have completely. I haven't spoken to you at all about what you thought of it.
This is truly pure.
What did you think of the Friends reunion off the bat? There's a lot to get into, I feel.
I think I was of the same opinion when everyone heard about it, that they were doing a scripted episode initially, and they obviously didn't opt for that. They opted to talk to James Corden instead. Now, I'm bitterly disappointed that James Corden was in any way involved, as I think the entire nation believes that to be true as well.
I think, I have not seen anyone saying great performance by James Corden.
It was fantastic we had James there. What would we have done without James?
Yeah.
But So that, I mean, I'm still thinking about the cunt, to be honest.
That's clear. You got to get your head out of that.
I need 30
People
seconds.
are here. They've clicked this episode to hear us talk about the Friends reunion.
I know they've clicked on it, but I've just called a police officer a cunt from my work, technically my work phone, to their work mobile number. Just the word cunt. I'm not even sure if I sent the apology to the right number. At this point, I could have just said cunt and nothing else.
And then sorry to another police officer.
And then sorry to another police officer and they'll have no idea what I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so the Friends reunion. So the scripted episode, I think we all would have preferred.
Disagree, but
you disagree. But then when they were talking about it and they were like they left it on the right place, I was like, fair enough if they want to leave it where they left it. There's no disrespect for that. It's their kind of prerogative to do that. It could have been fun. I think
no, because my belief is that no show should ever have a scripted reunion ever.
I don't know, with Friends it could have. The thing is, because the ending works with how they left it. So the point was that they would have had to unravel their lives in order to then build them back up.
And this is what I said before the thing, is when I found out about it, I was like, just in general, the reason why reunions are inherently always a bad idea and always disappointing is because if you built a show and it's 10 years later, you have to introduce new conflicts, and that will just, as they said, unravel all of the work they've done.
Yeah.
It had a great ending. It was 10 years. If we had to see, and there's to make the episode interesting, there has to be conflicts or issues in Chandler and Monica's marriage. And
One of them could call a police officer a cunt.
Could call a police officer a cunt. If any sort of bad writing, or like anything like that, will change the canon of Friends forever. Because it will be official canon if it's by writers, Kaufman and Crane.
Yeah.
And so that means whenever I'd watch Friends again, it would be with the knowledge that 10 years after the 10 years that Friends happened, this happened in that period.
Yeah.
And that is always a nightmare. Any reunion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't want to see what happens to them.
I agree. So that's what I was saying. I think perversely, I would have enjoyed the scripted thing. But then
perversely, just seeing it crash and burn, something that you love.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. Yeah, but also that's more entertaining than them walking around the set and talking to James.
For an hour and 40 minutes. It was like a feature film.
Yeah, well, it didn't have to be that. But it would have been entertaining, but it would have been the wrong thing to do for the show.
Sure.
What did you think at the start of when they all walked in?
With the whole thing, I think I was very skeptical at first, and I'm often quite cynical about these kind of things, but I actually liked it quite sincerely.
Did you like it?
I thought it was pretty well done. There was moments I absolutely hated. I think I've never been more ashamed to be British than watching it, because the amount seemingly every celebrity on there was British.
Yeah, why was that?
And it felt like, in the way that when you have Americans ruin British shows, Friends is probably one of the greatest American pop culture achievements. It's up there, because the way it's gone across the whole world and exported American culture. It's their thing. It's one of the most American things there is.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculously American. When America does the In-Betweeners, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
British version of Friends would never really work. It's America's thing. And having David Beckham describe...
Why was he there?
No idea.
Why did he have such
Kit Harington, David Beckham, James Corden, Cara Delevingne...
Cara Delevingne, yeah. Why was... Because the most pertinent one of that was David Beckham. Why did he have such an extended slot? He spoke for the longest out of anyone.
And hearing both him and Kit Harington individually trying to explain why a scene's funny and just suck anything funny out of it. It was hilarious when he was saying, just him saying Chandler. Chandler. And when Chandler, it's like, you're not meant to be talking about this show.
Yeah,
Chandler. And there was just a moment. Whenever I'm away from my family and I get really sad, I like to put this episode on because I love it when Chandler. And it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, I don't understand how the people who were organising it sat there and thought, right, we need to get some big celebrity guests on in order to say what Friends means to them. Let's get the football player David Beckham.
Number one. David Beckham.
He has to have the biggest spot in there. Surely.
Number two, Malala. She has to be there.
Malala. We need the human rights aspect.
We need Malala.
Or how are we going to probably analyse it?
Kit Harington.
Kit Harington, he was in a TV show. He really was.
He's got to be there.
This is also a TV show, so that works. And that's good.
That's good.
I think we're done with that.
I thought seeing them all together, obviously it was like a big thing is about how they look. And they do... It is weird with in Hollywood where it's like the whole obsession with anti-aging, but somehow they always look so bad when they're older in a way that, like, my aunt looks better than some of the people on Friends.
Is that because of the old plastico surgery?
It must be, but then I feel like if you're in LA and
Your aunt's a
to,
lovely looking lady, by the way.
she is a lovely looking lady, but I'm trying to say that, like, members of the family who are not at all in the cosmetic industry, who just let it go naturally,
it's the way to go.
Will look better for their age.
Yeah.
But then if you're in LA and you're doing that work, it's a cosmetic
But
industry, and you want to
aunt,
try and sustain a career in show business.
but your aunt also wasn't one of the sex symbols of the 90s.
She wasn't, but that means that it was
In America.
It was like in Sussex.
In
she
Sussex,
was pretty big.
sure.
She was a pin-up in
Lewis,
Sussex. But
yeah.
my aunt, like, I don't think. I think she won't mind me saying this. I don't think she was on Jennifer Aniston's level when she was in her 20s.
I think she would mind you saying it,
But
but
then I think it's kind of gone like that because now Jennifer Aniston did look like Iggy Pop. Do you not think she?
Oh yeah, great
She
show.
she looked like a man.
Yeah, she did. Well, she still looks good in films, but
Yeah.
I guess that's with all the
There was
touching up
something-
and stuff.
And then obviously I thought Matt LeBlanc looked very approachable.
Matt LeBlanc,
This is why we shouldn't be British people talking about it. I love the episode where Matt LeBlanc and Chandler.
Go to Central Park. Matt LeBlanc is definitely my favourite out of all of them.
Who came across the best.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He doesn't look like all of them looked. They were taking themselves really seriously for a lot of it, and everything. They were almost trying to focus on how emotional it was.
I hated how much they tried to make us cry.
Just
but I still think
fair.
it was kind of nicely done because.
I'm not. I'm just.
They're reminding how important that show was and how big that show was.
But like, get a grip.
Yeah.
For a second, like Matt was
David
there.
Schwimmer looked like he was going to cry at every opportunity.
No, they all did. Other than Matt, who was there having a bit of a laugh.
He was having a good time.
He was still. You engage in the emotional bits for some of it, but also like let's have a laugh, guys. Because all they did was cry about how much they used to laugh together.
Yeah.
They didn't. I didn't see them laugh together.
Also, it's the
much.
first time they'd seen each other all together since the show.
Yeah, so they can't get that much about.
Well,
the show.
I bet that a lot of the meetings. I don't think Matthew Perry's coming to a lot of those meetings
because he's high on crack cocaine.
Well, yes.
Yes. Well, they didn't actually, because that was quite an amusing omission. I kept looking out for any questions they'd ask to Matthew Perry about the show.
He just had one-liners.
Yeah, because he wouldn't remember anything.
He didn't look like he knew where
he was.
What
I want is the Friends Reunion special with just Matthew Perry, who doesn't remember a thing.
With him trying to recall.
So how did you find, your audition and coming into it? It was fun. I'll tell you that. It was a whirlwind, or him just making things up.
Yeah.
But that was a fun omission of it. I think with the looks thing, I don't know. I think it must be the plastic surgery.
Or is it because of how hot they were?
That's what I'm saying. It's a combination of both of them.
Because they were unbelievably hot. All
yeah,
of them.
yeah,
They were
of
all
them.
like ridiculously good looking.
Exactly.
People.
And I think it must be the combination of that expectation.
I don't know if I'm. Yeah, because maybe my aunt.
They
is
all
like
go into
holding
one.
her to a less high standard as Jennifer.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. But I think combining, you have that and you have them being sex symbols of the 90s, and then them, because of that pressure, they then get plastic surgery, which means they then look worse in the 2020s.
Yeah.
So it all goes into one.
It's true. And also realising how little work all of them have got, apart from Jen. But even all the side actors, and you're like...
Lisa's done bits and bobs, hasn't she? Matt hosted Top Gear.
Didn't go well, though,
Didn't go well, no. Matthew Perry went to rehab.
He went to rehab. And I found there was weird moments in
Courtney
it.
Cox.
There was... Yes. She looks the strangest, I found.
She does.
And
does.
I found... It was funny when they kept getting... for some reason, I just thought when they were like getting such random people out like Malala and David Beckham, I was just waiting for them to be like, here's Bin Laden's son, and he's talking about why the show meant a lot to him. And like, I just felt like, here's George Bush Sr. Like, honestly... It could have been anyone who they brought out. It literally could have been anyone.
It didn't seem to be that relevant because like they missed out quite a few key characters. Like you didn't see Paul Rudd or anyone coming.
No.
But we heard from David Beckham. Which felt odd. Odd omissions. Maybe they couldn't get some of them in for the
Justin
show.
Bieber.
Yeah,
he was dressed
there
up as
the potato.
Didn't say anything.
Sputnik.
Danced and then went off.
Yeah. Why?
But yeah, I think James Corden was the worst possible
the villain
choice
of the evening
for the host, because it's just that that kind of like look of like we're all having fun, aren't we? That he has as a host. That I think is really. I would have taken Kimmel. I don't particularly like him. I don't like any of them. But I would think
Kimmel's the least offensive. Or
Conan.
Conan.
Yeah, well, Conan would have been great, but I think he's even above it.
Yeah, he is.
I think Kimmel suited the Friends vibe. And then when they like did those cutaways to like people across the world who had like been influenced by Friends, and then do you know when they like went to Ghana, they went to like India, and and it was just like these. You got short little talking heads. And there were always these unbelievable traumatic stories. About, like, and then my dad got like cancer when I was a kid,
and that's when
died.
the rocket started.
And then my sister also got cancer and she died. And then I like the show Friends. Cut. And then it's like, do you know what I mean?
Move on.
It's literally like you don't even get to know the actual story because it's literally like I was really sad. I had no friends. My friends were on the show. Cut. And it's done. And it's just around the world all these like
it was
really
80%
tragic figures.
80% harrowing stories. 20% how Friends supposedly got them through it. It really not that much detail.
And then as soon as they did it, they got me through it. Cut. Now let's
another sad one.
Another sad one. And just getting more and like 80% of the sad story, 20% of like Friends.
It did. The whole thing seemed to be trying to make you cry from start to finish, which I took umbrage with.
Yes.
Why don't we celebrate the good times rather than cry that they're over?
It did make you feel like it was a good show, looking back on some of the moments, and I think. I think they did like. I think looking back, I still stand by Ross being the funniest. It still came
hands
through.
down. Hands down.
I still say Chandler's the worst, but I've changed my mind. I do think Joey's great. I think Joey does a great job.
Yeah, to be honest, they all do a good job.
Yeah.
And our ranking system, the one you can look back on that episode whenever it was. I stand by the ranking system, but that's ranking 6 actors at the top of their game
for sure. And I thought, and then there's the big kind of bombshell that Ross and Rachel were like going out and stuff, and
they weren't going out.
That whole kind of thing, and it's like that was a good romance that was well, the chemistry clearly added off screen, but I found the reading of the script of the scene prior was the hardest bit to watch.
Oh my god,
it was awful. It was truly awful when they sat down and did a table read where they had like if you're doing like a funny silly scene and they all do the table read,
don't do the emotional.
They're all involved. If it's just Ross and Rachel, and that's something that I kind of I respect. I think about Americans, respect and despise is I just don't know. I would never be able to read out a love scene with someone like that next to all those people. And just have that on TV and just do that sincerely. To me, that was like, I cannot imagine.
Very cringe-worthy, embarrassing kind of thing.
I can't even imagine.
But it's just do. You're right. Just do one of the fun bits. Why are you diving into? I don't think trying. I thought the idea is maybe trying to do an iconic scene from it. But that wasn't fun viewing because it was just they're clearly going to be worse at what they were doing. Because of their faces, but also because of the fact they're doing a table read. So why put us through that?
And also, I feel, which I felt at the time, when I was watching Friends, which is like I was happy that they had quite a lot about the writers because it was like the how little people give a shit about writers is quite funny. Where it's like Friends is fully. The success is fully down to the actors, and that's the only thing people really care or know about. It's like these two people who came up with the entire show that you love came up with the characters based on their lives, and then no one gives a fuck about them because they're not good looking. Or interesting. It's like it's not really advertised. You don't really know them as auteurs or anything, but like seeing that the people who was behind it and how she looked like a kind of hippie, and I was like, okay, that means I can see a bit of Phoebe in there.
Yeah. One of their mates is called Chandler.
One of them was gay. I think they're both Jewish.
It's interesting they didn't put a gay person in there because like the main writer was.
Yeah, and it was.
We're just staring at my phone now. It's a Guardian news thing.
You just waited because I think your mind has been elsewhere.
Well, obviously, of course it fucking has. I'm struggling through this podcast. I'm slowly. I'm just trying to get drunk now, but it's still that. Just like the phone just fucking looked up. I think the fact. Let's just go back to it for a second. I think the fact my phone hasn't gone off. Oh my! Well, the Guardian thing is 14-year-old boy has been stabbed to death in Birmingham. So why is everything so bleak? It's when I have these early shifts, the world goes to shit.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, clearly.
But no, every time we're just keeping that there, just seeing if it lights up.
I mean,
it hasn't lit up. So I think they're going.
How
what?
Do they
police officers hear this kind of shit? All right, I'm now I'm now in denial.
In denial.
Police officers go through this kind of shit all the time. They hear this shit, whatever. Probably not expecting it from like someone they work with.
Yeah. Do you have any prior speaking to this
Experience of this? No.
No, but not experience calling a police officer a cunt.
Piss. Sorry.
Do you have you spoken to this police officer before?
No.
So is it always a new police officer, pretty much?
Kind of. Well, it's just I don't always send them passwords. I just did some today.
Okay.
I can't be bothered to go through what I actually do.
Yeah.
Like no. So the only text that I've ever had.
Do they respond thank you when you send passwords?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
So that kind of implies maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're not
It doesn't
gonna
imply
respond.
anything. It's fine.
It's going to be
absolutely
fine.
It's all good. No, it's it's fine.
So you did message a police officer cunt.
Mm.
I mean, it's such a hard scenario.
But not like just a police officer. These are detective inspectors.
I think what's the tough situation about it is it's really hard to accidentally
say
cunt. Like the worst one you could possibly say.
Of course, it looks intended.
And this is all from your revelation.
They're detectives as well. These aren't police officers. They're like detectives. They're quite high up. They're the only reason I've sent passwords because they're investigating like fucking murders and shit.
Well, yeah, and like
which then surely they'll be more busy thinking rather than this prick from X company saying cunt.
I mean, when we were planning the show and you said I've got my revelation.
Yeah. I didn't think
you
of
threw
that
in last minute. I'll just talk about revelation, a kind of tepid revelation about predictive text. Who would have known that you would have been punished for that revelation?
Yeah.
So did you have that revelation this morning at 6:45?
Yeah.
And that's what's cost you your job.
That's what's cost me the job. The fact that predictive text is next level.
Exactly, because this observation about predictive text meant
that I sent a police officer a cunt.
And did it predictively text it to count? What was the?
It went to count, and I changed it to cunt, and then sent it.
And then
I don't know why I sent it. It was instinct.
So you approved right, and then so it was.
But how many times it's rare you do a text and then just exit it off. Oh, I'm done now. Yeah. And just kind of preemptively.
It's just the muscle memory.
Yeah, it's muscle memory. Right, let's move on.
Because you're so careless as well with your phone, because you don't save any names.
No.
Just to have the things, and it's coming back to bite you. Like
that was nothing to do with that.
It's the mindset.
It's not the mindset.
The mess that is your phone contact.
That has nothing to do with that.
I think it has a lot.
I'm not going to save each police contact. That will be odd.
Well, we were just talking earlier about how that an Uber driver said you should be a diplomat, and how this has been something that's been spoken to you about. And I think it's very clearly.
This is an example of why I should.
What happened with the Uber driver?
I had a very long on Sunday. I went to my friend's house, and I had a very long. He lives in Fulham. That's a Max who I got punched in the face with.
Yes.
And it's a very long drive back from Fulham to Mile End. It was like 40 minutes, I think. And I was quite drunk, so we chatted for the whole way. We had a lovely conversation, because sometimes I get in a mood where I'm like, I'm going to talk the fuck out of you. Don't know.
Okay.
He wouldn't know mine. Well, he would because of the app. Actually, Anwar.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anwar.
Yeah.
But no, we just kind of we dived in straight away. You know, it's you start with the weather and then you just go into it.
Yeah.
And he was kind of giving me, advice of my career and things and all of that stuff. He didn't advise me to do any of the actions I've done.
What was his advice in your career?
Afternoon to become a diplomat. He was saying he was because we were talking about just general things like that, and because he was from India, and I was talking about Indian history and everything.
Did you try and sort out India, Pakistan?
I didn't try.
You did.
I did.
And he was like, "You should be a diplomat."
You should be a diplomat. Oh, okay. No, we got to talking, and then he said that, and it's something my mum says to me.
Well, people, you certainly can be diplomatic when you're not involved in the issue.
Well,
obviously. If you're a third person.
Yeah, obviously, but diplomats often aren't the belligerents, are they? That's not the problem. I'm not going to bomb people and be like, well, let's think about how we can solve this the best.
Yeah.
No, I have diplomatic tendencies, but I also am a fucking nightmare in every other situation. Sure. As this has shown so perfectly.
But it's more that you had the potential to if you fell down a different walk of life, and then you've chosen the cunt
I still
route.
think I'd be too reckless.
Probably.
I think
if you put your mind to it, you could easily be a diplomat. Lots of these guys are fucking idiots. Like, you could have done it, but you've chosen the cunt life.
I've chosen the cunt life. Yeah, but I can't put my mind. I've got too many addictions. Too much rash behaviour. There'll be. Because I said that's what I said to the guy. There's way too many skeletons in my closet.
Yeah.
Like they're not even that bad skeletons, but there are too many skeletons that could come out now, and they're only going to get worse.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's not the life for me, sadly. But always something to contemplate. Do you not? Well, how do you think you'd serve in a diplomatic service?
I think I'd keep trying to like. My problem as a diplomat is I'd always try and like find like a. I feel like I'll be pushing for like, what's wrong with you, and like having and like try and shock them with my honesty.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
feel that might be the wrong. Like I'd always kind of naturally move towards like, hey, let's cut the shit.
Yeah.
All right. You're a cunt. You're a cunt.
Yeah.
Well, not like that, but at least like say, and then it'll be like in politics, you actually diplomacy isn't about cutting the shit. It's
No,
about
it's
building
not.
the shit.
It's about building the shit. Yeah.
So like
You're tearing it down.
yeah.
Everyone-
So because hey, why were you?
Let's be real with each
Because I always
other.
think like I have like slightly higher heel on my boot, put my boot on the table, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, hey guys, let's talk about this really. And
I feel like
I'd
you
talk
cut
about
the
it
shit,
really.
be real, and get it pretty wrong. Get it pretty wrong. So it's not offensive that it wouldn't be offensive that you're just saying something that's intended to be real and might be a bit untactful.
Yeah.
You've actually said something that's
completely-
categorically wrong and offensive at the same time.
Just India Palestine. India.
Exactly. Look, you call the head English
India,
diplomat.
you gotta leave Palestine.
India, come over here. Palestine, over here. You two need to cut it out. Okay? You need to stop this nonsense. Okay? Why are you even bombing each other? There's no reason. You're quite far away. What's the dispute? I can't
It's
see
weird.
it.
Do you have something against?
Look, I'm not like the other diplomats. I keep it real. I talk real, and that's what separates me. Okay?
I see nothing in the media about India Palestine.
So why are you bombing each other?
Something pissed me off basically last week.
Do you want to do two news stories so we can you can
Yeah.
talk about yours, I can talk about mine.
Do you want to start with yours?
No, start with yours.
Okay.
They both have equal culture. They both have equal
Okay.
cultural significance.
Basically, anyone who listens to the podcast knows that I have kind of a troubled relationship with Jamil. Not that
After the incident in 2002,
I have a troubled relationship with
when
her.
you were 5 years old.
It's not that I like despise her, like I do something with it. I think she's genuinely might be a good person deep down, but she does represent everything that is awful in the world culturally in the West right now. And she is, to me, the embodiment of everything I can't stand. And I hope she'd be seen as my opposite. Whether you think that's a compliment or an insult, I don't care.
But a good person deep down.
I think so, because it's not like some people where I'm like, that's like an absolute
She doesn't
scum.
seem to be intentionally doing this stuff.
But it's so bad, it might not even matter.
Yeah.
And she's
okay.
got
Okay.
basically a narcissistic personality disorder, which is rife in Hollywood, in the media, and is the biggest issue of our time. But she sums up so perfectly.
Yeah.
And she often, for those who don't know, she's a supermodel, TV presenter, actress, one of the most beautiful people on the planet, actually. Like I actually find her incredibly stunning.
That's why I hate her so much.
Maybe
it all makes sense now.
She is now kind of the face of body positivity and fat activism.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the big her big thing is about like
Trauma.
trying to get rid of Photoshop and stuff, and then she'll post like cover photos of her saying this is without Photoshop, and she'll look stunning. I'm like, well, that makes people feel worse. Because you don't actually need Photoshop because your skin is flawless.
Just to jump in for a second, someone who does that on Instagram is Vicky Patterson from Geordie Shore. She is good at it because I think she's 10 out of 10 gorgeous.
Yeah.
And she does selfies that aren't Photoshop.
Sure.
And she looks shit, as we all do on a hungover Sunday morning. She looks ridiculous. So she does it well, but that's all she does.
That's all she does.
Every fucking day. She go and it's like before and after, like before the night and after the night, and it gets a bit exhausting. But she does it well. And just quickly, go on Vicky Patterson's Instagram right now, and go on just click on any one of her pictures, any one of the thousands of pictures she has. Have a look how many followers she has. It's something like 300,000. I can't tell you. Maybe millions. It's got to be a mil. At least that. She has liked every single one of her own posts. Every single one of her photos she likes. She has at least maybe 1 million followers, something around that. Why does she like every single one of her own posts?
If you're getting 300,000 likes, why are you liking your own post?
Why are you liking her own post?
And so I've always been a bit fascinated with Jamil for her way of basically seeing the world as she's constantly the victim, but in a way that is kind of almost like avant-garde drumming. It's like formless, it's like shapeless, and it's completely surprising. Like to me, she's the Miles Davis. She's like the Miles Davis of victimhood, where you listen to a Miles Davis album and you don't even know what's going on because it doesn't follow any of the kind of traditional roots of music. And when I see Jameela Jamil talk about it, I'm like, you've shown me ways of being a victim in trauma that I didn't even realise were possible.
Existed, right? Yeah.
And the reason why this pissed me off, because obviously I try and avoid talking about her because I do find it boring talking about these kind of things on ad nauseum. But this is something that just took the piss too much. She posted on Instagram, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I think that's how you pronounce it, is always at the forefront of your mind because it affects every single cell in your body. And so every micro-decision you make is in consideration of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. For someone to discard that just because you look okay, according to their own Bible of ableism, it's very hurtful. Jameela Jamil, advocate first, actress second. Already infuriates me. Advocate first, actress second. So when you see Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, it sounds very serious.
Maybe she can't stand, like maybe her knees are broken.
Yes.
Maybe she's always like, she's got a problem with her ears, so her head's always tilting a bit left.
Yes.
Or she can't see out of one eye.
She does carries on the post with the caption underneath. I was diagnosed 26 years ago, and little improvement has been made in our medical system since then. The research has not progressed enough. There isn't much funding, even though we continue to learn that this condition is nowhere near as rare as they used to think it was. Every day that you get up and get out of bed, you're a fucking legend. Even if you stay in bed, if you are asked to open your eyes today, because it's an ongoing condition of fuck this shit. We are so strong mentally and emotionally for having to carry the burden of this condition without anyone understanding it or believing us. Try a single morning in our shoes, bitches. Okay?
So is it something, it must be something like, does she have, is it a problem walking? Is it a problem that she's got something in her heels that make her feet are in not constant pain?
When I read that, I was like, Ehlers-Danlos, that actually sounds quite serious. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, maybe this is actually quite a serious thing that I'm kind of surprised that she's managed to put a lid on it for so long.
Yeah.
Because this is serious.
Ehlers-Danlos
syndrome.
She's not the kind of person that would suffer quietly.
It reads like kind of Down syndrome or on those sort of levels. So I look up what Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is the kind of professional, like the more official name for hypermobility. A condition I have badly. I have bad hypermobility.
A condition that Horatio has been ridiculed on.
I'm pretty sure I have it a lot fucking worse than Jameela Jamil.
You can tell. You can tell because we've seen Jameela Jamil walk in a red carpet or something, and even we've just seen her in pictures looking like classy. There is never a picture where you'll look classy.
Because I'm hypermobile as fuck. Your joints hyperextend. Yes, it's not ideal. If I was born and I could pick having it or not having it, I maybe wouldn't prefer to have it. Yeah. But when you start talking about it and say to people like me, every day that you get up and get out of bed, you're a fucking legend.
Not even that.
Even if you stay in bed, if you were even asked to open your eyes today, it is an ongoing condition of fuck this shit. All right, my joints ache a little bit, all right? But this idea that opening your eyes to success with the level of conditions we have is so unbelievably offensive to people who have actual physical conditions. It actually makes you so mad. And even realising that I could claim some victimhood from it makes you feel a bit queasy.
Do you not see yourself claiming?
Well, if I don't get an agent soon, I will start slowly ramping up my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome issues. I've had this struggle with this for a while. I wasn't allowed to play rugby at school.
He's not legally allowed on trampolines.
I'm not legally allowed on trampolines. These are the big two things, and the main thing was I wasn't allowed to play rugby, which No.
The big thing was you weren't legally allowed on trampolines.
I still went on them though.
Still not to this day.
I'm still not legally. Well, not it's not. No one's going to arrest me for
you're a
going.
legend.
No.
And everything you do.
Every day I open my eyes,
Look,
I'm a legend. I got that disorder.
People ask why I have another job. What I'm doing is humouring my physically disabled best friend. It's tough to see him up here by himself every day, thinking he can write comedy, thinking that a podcast will ever be successful.
Every day I get up is a success. Every day I get out of bed is a success.
And Horatio, you're the one that's deluded here. We all know that you're never going to amount to anything because of this absolutely debilitating physical ailment.
Debilitating physical condition that means you literally cannot move out of fucking bed.
Look, BB is an interview. I found her on a website. Who were, so it's like a carer / fake relationship website.
Yeah.
I found her and she agreed.
Really?
She agreed to be with you. I have constructed everything in your life is basically a facade. And your mum asked me to do it initially.
It's like a Make-A-Wish Foundation thing,
yeah,
style
but
thing.
top secret.
But top secret.
Top secret.
I'm more like creating a Truman Show around
Yes.
to try and make me at least feel a little bit normal with my debilitating physical disorder. It basically means that your joints, you hyperextend your joints slightly. Okay, so it means that overall, it's a small minor thing, but overall, things like playing rugby will put you more at risk of serious injury. All right, even though I've never broken anything on it. Like, I haven't had many serious injuries. And the main thing, not the fact that I can play rugby, but
is he can't go on trampolines.
It was quite emasculating when everyone was sort of learning about masculinity and growing up with the most
masculinity class.
We'll talk about that.
You're not legally allowed on it.
But, rugby for young men in this country is probably the most kind of ridiculously masculine.
Yeah, in schools that do it, it's not actually that common though, is it?
Yeah, but in schools that do it, in winter playing rugby with other men, it's hard to get more.
You create a bond.
Yeah. I was teaching the year 3s when I was in year 7, year 8, tag rugby, okay? I wore a full tracksuit like the teacher, and I was teaching it. To be honest, I'm upset
you're allowed to
I
move
wasn't
on.
bullied more. It really says something about
I should have done better.
the school I was at, that I was, not ridiculed more and allowed to get away with it, because that's unacceptable. If someone else had that, I would not have allowed them. If they were teaching younger kids to play tag rugby because they couldn't physically be allowed to play full contact rugby, I would try and make their lives hell. My life isn't hell, and maybe
maybe it
Jameela
is.
Jamil went to the right school, who bullied her properly for her debilitating physical disorder, and maybe I was let off the hook, and that's why I don't feel like it's a success opening my fucking eyes.
So touch rugby, you move on from, I think, in year 3. You move on in year 3 and you start playing contact with a few different limitations. Bearing in mind, it's year 3-year-olds running around. They're not going to be able to do that much damage to each other. Other than if you have a debilitating illness. But what I see is you just continue to play touch rugby, and you were allowed to teach year 3s because you become such a master at it. Because you were just playing with year 2 kids for the whole life.
I did demolish them.
You were getting taller and taller and bigger and bigger. And then just became this expert in touch rugby. And so it was just like, you should have gone for that. Maybe you could have been a touch rugby professional.
Maybe.
You can still play touch rugby around here.
So what I find kind of fascinating about Jamil is her way of like constantly trying to change the narrative so that her life is even though, and I think why I find her fascinating as a sort of like main character, or like a complex 3-dimensional character, is there's elements of like classic literature in sort of flying too close to the sun, that sort of archetype.
Yeah.
Because she wants too much.
Yeah.
She is rich. She's got some talent. She's unbelievably attractive. She is in a relationship with James Blake, a very renowned musician. She's got everything in her life.
It is funny how much you know about her, but
yes,
continue. Because that was just scratching the surface.
So she's got like anything that to make a successful life. She's got it all.
Yeah.
She's been gifted with immense amount of privilege by the way she looks, by the talent she has, all of those things. Had a lot of luck breaks and stuff like that. She wanted more. And what she wanted is to also be seen as someone who's overcome so much.
An underdog story.
So she's now the face of fat activism, even though she is the opposite. She is the beauty standard.
Yeah.
And she is the person who's constantly posting very like classically beautiful photos on Instagram.
Yeah.
And saying, fuck your beauty standard. Fuck your beauty standard.
But you are the beauty standard.
You've made your career out of the beauty standard.
I'm the beauty standard.
And you can take photos with all the fat girls you want and say, look at us. Just a bunch of fat girls. You would never trade places with them because you know that you'd hate to look like that. Because you are.
Oh, God, you'd never do it for a million years.
Not for a million years.
If you care about it that much and you think it's not that important.
Yeah.
Would you trade?
No, of course not. And it's like, and all these things about people talking about beauty standards and stuff. It's like when Cara Delevingne once shaved her head for a film role.
Oh my God, yeah.
And she did this long post about fuck your beauty standards, fuck the thing. Beauty standards that she was at the time, the #1 model in the world.
Yeah.
The biggest She was always on covers. She was probably the number one reason why people felt.
By appearing on covers in that way, you're inherently an ambassador for those beauty standards.
Sure. So she was at the time the top of the beauty standard because she was the most famous model in the world. Technically, the most beauty standard beauty in the world. She shaved her head for a multi-million-dollar film role, and she posts about it as if she's challenging beauty standards. And I'm like, you are one of those beautiful people on the planet. When you shave your head, it looks cool, to be honest. You still look attractive. If you coated yourself in mustard and cracked an egg on your head before you went to any public appearance, that would be challenging beauty standards.
Yeah.
Because that would be really, that would be a lot. It'd be a lot to try and stomach.
I agree with the mustard analogy, of course I do. But I think it would have been a statement in itself if she just shaved her head.
Sure.
And I think that
like a Britney.
That could,
because that was
like a Britney.
Britney was a
Britney was fuck. I'm so done with this shit.
Yeah.
I'm literally shedding the hair off my head. But I think it would have been enough if she just shaved her head, and then she would have been entitled to say the fuck your beauty standards a bit. The fact that it then came out that because that happened first, and then people then coined on it's for a fucking multi-million-dollar film role,
and she carried on doing
that is one of the most disgraceful things I've ever seen in my life.
And it's not going against beauty standards that much.
It's not.
Amber Rose, Sinead O'Connor. There's been loads of.
And how can you say that you're like when Christian Bale gets fat for roles? He's not saying fuck beauty standards. He's playing. He's playing a different character.
You know when Christian Bale got fat for that one about Dick Cheney, that film?
Oh, Dick Cheney, American Hustle. Fat Dude loves getting fat.
Weirdly,
there must be a bit of fun in that.
Because he did The Machinist as well, which he lost the most weight on record ever.
Yeah, you got to rate him.
But I would, if I was Christian Bale, every single one of these roles, I would every single time I change
insist
weight,
on getting fat.
I would do a big post about fuck beauty standards.
Yeah.
And then I'd keep going out. You can't, because what he's saying is like the industry. You can't box me. You can't
I'm not
box me.
boxable.
You know, Chris
I'm
Hemsworth
here.
always looks stench.
And I'm here.
But you can't box me because I'm fat, I'm skinny. You don't know what I'm going to do next, bitch.
I'm here. I'm there.
Look, 1 second I'm fat. 1 second I'm so skinny I'm about to die if I don't eat something in the next 5 seconds. I'm alive. I'm fat now.
By the way, my next film will be about morbidly obese people, and I'll be playing the main character.
Yeah. My next film is going to be about a skinny person gaining weight because he needs to.
And I'll be paid £1,000 million for it.
Good. And it's going to be about changing beauty standards.
Yeah.
But back on Julian Gill for a second, because I was sent her because I was speaking to a friend about complaining about Jameela Jamil, and he sent me her Wikipedia page because it is quite fascinating reading. Whenever you read about a famous person's Wikipedia and you see on their early life, it's normally about stuff that they're just general like basic life events or like setting up how they came about their career.
Yeah.
Jameela Jamil's early life section on her Wikipedia is just a list of minor inconveniences.
Yeah.
Okay? So it starts with Jameela was born in Hampstead, London to a Pakistani father, Ali Jamil. All cool. She stated in 2015 that she was born with congenital hearing loss and labyrinthitis.
Pardon?
Congenital hearing loss and which sounds bad, but... What? Oh, you got a pardon. Yeah, very good. Which she has had several operations to correct, and that she had 70% hearing ability in her left ear and 50% in her right ear. Jamil has stated that at age 9 she was diagnosed with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a genetic disorder affecting the connective tissue in your body, and that she was diagnosed with celiac disease at age 12. Celiac disease means you can't digest gluten.
There is some annoyance in that.
Celiac disease!
Yeah.
Well, make sure that's right, because it might be something. Yes. Yes, it's about digestive issues. She has also stated she experienced mercury poisoning at age 21, which she attributes to mercury leakage from albumin teeth fillings and further exacerbated by the proper removal of them, which she declared burnt holes in her digestive system.
How does this get? And
this is the early life.
She's
only had
get on your Wikipedia page because
she's in interviews. Every time she's asked,
all she talks about is the fucking problems. That's like me saying, on mine would be Andrew's parents got divorced when he was this age, and then when he was in year 10, he stubbed his toe.
Yeah. Or like Mandela or anyone. It's only Mandela's a bad example, but like just like because his strife is part of what makes him.
Yeah.
But like if Brad Pitt's thing was just every like small minor inconvenience, that's not an early life section.
Broke his leg when he was in year 6,
and he said that it really hurt.
Okay, Brad Pitt got a dodgy tooth.
As a teenager, she has stated suffered from anorexia nervosa and described not eating a full meal between the ages of 14 and 17. She believes her eating disorder developed due to societal pressure, including magazine articles selling weight loss products. She has said that at the age of 17... Okay, this is... I don't know... This is funny, but I don't know if we should be allowed to laugh at it. It's unclear morally. She has said that at the age of 17, she was struck by a car while running from a bee, breaking several bones and damaging her spine. Okay, look, that does sound quite serious. If you damage your spine, that could end badly.
I think, let's be fair, the anorexia one's probably serious as well. I mean, she was a supermodel.
That's fine.
Not. The bee, she was running from a bee.
She was running from...
She's probably fucking allergic to it.
That detail, and these all sound, some of these do sound bad. I'm not saying they're not bad.
But why is the Wikipedia page?
List, because it's all she talks about.
Exactly. Which is the problem.
Which is like, I just wish that I like all of these sort of like celebrities who this constant thing about we're trying to get rid of shame and like I'm so sick of shame. It's like if you had like an ounce of shame,
in 2021,
you wouldn't be the most annoying person on the planet.
In 2021, Andrew called a police officer a cunt.
Exactly. That goes on the early line.
That's on there
mental health issues. He then suffered from severe anxieties.
Post-traumatic stress.
Just have a little bit of discretion. Have a tiny bit of shame. Have a little bit of personal struggle that you deal with yourself. Yeah. It doesn't have to be this movement where no one treats people who've been running away from bees who've been hit by a car properly. We are a troubled group.
Where's the bee discourse?
You're beautiful. You were born in Hampstead, clearly to rich parents. You've had a fine life.
You ran away from a bee and had a bit of an issue.
She described being...
The annoying thing is because it's all about how we judge the severity of some of these issues, which I think what she's talking about, and the problem with some of this discourse is once someone states an issue in this discourse, the listener doesn't have any right to state that it might not be as severe as the speaker is claiming it to be. Because it's emotional truth. Because it's emotional truth.
Which you can't
Which you can't say anything.
Can't challenge.
So that's one of the reasons why, because when you messaged me about this last week, this is fantastic because she's now come into your home court.
Yeah.
With the whole hypermobility
because now
thing.
This is the first one, which is like, to be honest, I think I've got it worse than you, and I know this more than you, and that really puts a bad
and
stint
it
on all the
problematizes
other.
all of her discourse by the fact that she says hypermobility is a disease where you're a champion just by opening your eyes in the morning.
Because if you don't have it and you read that, you are understandably like, whoa, I don't want to assume it's nothing.
So here's a take. Because there are a mix. Because for someone that talks about their problems all the fucking time, there's inevitably going to be a mix between ones that should be taken seriously and others that shouldn't.
Yeah.
So what she's doing by saying every single problem and thinking that there should be, there's also a semi-tacit implication that all issues should be as serious as every other issue, regardless of their severity. Yeah. So therefore, she's problematizing how severe the actual severe issues are. Something like anorexia, which I'm sure it was probably every supermodel struggles with that, which is a massive issue.
Sure.
But then she's also talking about hypermobility and running away from a bee.
Yeah.
You had an accident. It's shit. Sure, it's annoying, but your bones recover. She's fine. Well, they don't. Not with her.
Not with her.
God.
But she's fine. She might
she's
not
fine.
have been.
She might not
If she
have
was in a
been.
wheelchair, fair fucks to you.
To be honest,
she's not.
It's a story. Like, what you need is a bit of fucking resilience and mental toughness in these situations as well. Because if I was running away from B and got hit by a car and everything was fine now, that would be, I ran away from B and got hit by a car once. Hilarious.
A fascinating end to this. So after, at one point, she started using a Zimmer frame to start walking again. A lot of big celebrities have been through a lot of these things. If you find out in their biography, it's not lambasted at the beginning.
Yeah.
It then goes on.
You find out on Piers Morgan's life stories.
It talks about the very posh school she went to as well. And then it goes very interestingly. In 2013 interview with The Independent, she said she worked as a model scout but never as a model. Although in 2020 she stated she worked as a model but denied being one in early interviews. She's also described having worked as a photographer, scout, and model agent for Premier Model Management. So she basically, when she was coming up, was so insecure about the fact that she was successful or part of an establishment of any sort.
Yeah.
She lied about being a model.
And that's a big problem.
But it's just funny that after all of these things where she's just made herself this ridiculous victim, her privilege of being born beautiful and then given a modelling role.
She wants to get away from it.
She then denies it in early interviews because she can't handle the weight of being privileged.
Yeah.
You know?
She can't. I think that's the summary for her. She can't handle the weight of being privileged.
She can't.
She's constantly
hack it.
trying to rip herself down and get everyone else to feel some sort of empathy towards her, without focusing on. Because like, she could be an entirely open book and talk about. If she's got to talk about all of these things that have afflicted her, she therefore has a semi-right obligation to talk about all of the things that have benefited her in her life. Otherwise, it's completely unbalanced.
Never.
And and that's what happens a lot with everyone nowadays. Not everyone, but it's hiding away from anything that's privilege is such a disgusting word, and it's something you can never talk about. But you can only talk about your afflictions, but in such a way that you're attempted to garner some sort of emotional support.
I do think we need to make being born with privilege like not seen as this kind of crime, so we can deal with like not having these cunts. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you might feel like fuck people who have been born with so much luck, they don't deserve anything. If you don't make it such an unappealing thing and like try and accept that we're all born with different circumstances, that means that it won't be such a positive to manufacture the lack of privilege. I mean, we can have a more honest discourse.
And to tear yourself down. Instead of trying to cope with these other things.
She just flew too close to the sun. You have everything, but she wants more. I'm also fat. You're not fat, babes. You're gorgeous. Enjoy it. Go be with your wonderful boyfriend. Live in your massive house. Carry on working. You've had a lot of luck.
But don't try and make us feel sorry for you.
But don't make us feel fucking sorry for you for opening your eyes and getting out of bed.
We all have our own problems.
He just called a police officer.
We've got our own problems. I don't need to go and log on.
This is your bee in front of a car moment.
This is my bee in front of a car.
Chasing the bee is you trying to find out if... innocently, because the funny thing about running away from a bee is there's something slightly innocent.
There is,
but this is your.
It's running away from one bit of danger into a whole lot more danger.
It's literally like a Mr. Bean.
Sketch. Yeah.
And this is your bee moment.
This is my bee moment.
So you can ride this, and as I'm going to start riding, how tough it has been growing up with.
It's perfect because now we can kind of summarize this podcast, and this could be the podcast of us diving into our own issues in our life. And you're going to start taking your hyperability more seriously. And within the podcast, I've created a potential career-defining issue for myself.
So that's we're going to try and do the Jamil route.
Yes.
But then, and I think I have a weird thing is I see her freaking out on social media and feeling really anxious, as you would be, because she says such inflammatory things. She kind of tweets out such like unbelievably emotive woke things, and then people obviously give her a lot of shit for it.
Yes.
But she doesn't deal with it well.
No, not at all.
So I feel kind of bad for her sometimes, because I'm like, you're putting yourself through so much stress because you have this warped notion that you're some sort of like Mandela figure who's going through strife. It's just like hard to see. She's clearly very anxious, because if you're constantly posting this stuff and there's constantly people telling you your shit and stuff like that, it's gonna start ruining mental health. So it's just that feeling of like, just accept that you're fine, everything's good, and shut the fuck up for a second.
Get off social media. Stop doing all these things that are going to bring all these negative ideas and energy into your life.
Anyways, have you got anything else to add?
No, I'm gonna go cry.
I think we have not heard a message back from the police officer Andrew called a cunt, but we should find out. Thanks for listening, guys. See you guys next week.